GSL. My conscience is failing me.
What's up, guys? We're back here at the GSL Code A, and we're going on to our final best of 5. Should be good.
Should be a lot of fun. Sunblade, I cannot wait to get this started.
Yes. It's going to be a non-mirror matchup, which is a nice change.
Yeah, first one.
Yep, we did just see Solar move on to the GSL Code S. Obviously, if you're not familiar with Code A, I knew we occasionally do have some new nerds that tune into this. This is the filtering tournament for the remaining players to get into Code S. So they win one best of 5, and then they're in Code S.
That's right. And before that, they have to get through that qualifier, that group of players to make it to that challenger match. So you got to go through a series of qualifiers to finally make it into Code S. But when you're there, you're in the big leagues.
Yeah, and these guys have had a good amount of time, to prepare for a best of 5. Best of 5, much more unforgiving than a best of 3.
Definitely.
So it's kind of cool to see these guys come down here now and really have to plan out a proper build. In a best of 3, occasionally you can just pull off a cheese or 2 cheeses and it's over. But in a best of 5, you really get enough time to evaluate your opponent, to figure out, if you came in here and you planned poorly, you can still try to, shift gears and recover.
Yeah, it's a much bigger test of skill.
And I think that's what we saw with Solar here today.
Yeah, well, a lot of those games are pretty coin flippy. A lot of all-in builds from True, especially.
Well, especially right in the middle. But Solar did adjust.
He did.
And he did manage to force mid-game to actually occur properly.
Whenever it made it to a safe mid-game, Solar was always miles ahead.
Yeah.
He just had the better choice of styles and strategies, and he was looking stronger today. So he definitely deserved his Code S spot.
So today we've got TY and Losira. I think TY takes this, but don't count Losira out.
Yeah.
I've been casting Losira for a long time.
He's been around since the start of StarCraft II.
Very early days.
Yeah, I always used to look up to Losira. He was always a very talented Zerg player, very good mechanically, but
he had some funny-looking early game.
Yeah,
ZVTs especially.
That's his weakness.
He was the guy who would more often than not lose his expansion hatchery and then manage to recover and still win the game, which really doesn't happen as much anymore.
Definitely not, yeah. He's very susceptible to cheeses, and I think that's exactly what TY is going to be looking for today. TY is always, he's been pretty aggressive. He's not afraid of going for proxies, and against someone like this here, I think we're going to see a lot of them.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. This is TY. He was a fantastic Brood War player back in the day, using the ID Baby. I believe he started his professional gaming career at 11 and a half.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
That's talent, man. If you can start that early, something is.
I was casting this guy in Brood War, bashing other pros.
I remember.
You'd see a guy
I used to watch
19
it back
get
then.
bashed.
Yeah.
It's oh god.
No, absolutely. I
you really did lose to a 12-year-old kid.
He actually looks like a baby. But here's Losira. It's been a while since we've seen Losira. Didn't make it into the first 2 seasons of GSL. Finally, Code A this time though.
Don't forget, guys, this player right here was a GSL Code S finalist.
Yeah, he was. Losing to his teammate.
Nesty.
Yeah. Everyone lost to Nesty back then.
Yeah. Nesty, definitely a guy who knew how to figure out an RTS before everybody else could.
Yeah, that was the bottom line. But now, Losira's looking good. He's one of the big players for his team in Pro League as well. He does carry a lot. He's an ace player. So I think he had the shot today. And looking at these maps, Coda, Terraform, Expedition, Lost Echo, and Cactus. Not a bad lineup. I can't wait to get to Terraform. It's one of these new maps. I'm very interested to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, we still need to cast a few more games on it.
Yeah.
Me especially.
We haven't seen it here today.
Yeah. So let's see how this goes. Most people would probably say that TY is the favorite. Coming in here, TY's had a lot of success lately. Not a ton, not an overwhelming amount, not as much as Rain or anybody else like that. But he's been a good player. He had a little bit of a tough time when he started out in StarCraft II. He was not one of the players that immediately switched over from Brood War, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
He waited for the second major switch, which was the majority of Kesma players switching over. And although there are still players now that were playing Brood War.
That is true.
So
it's kind of made a resurgence at this point as well.
Yeah, it has.
But TY, even talking this year and a bit of last year, he kind of dropped off the map for a while. He wasn't playing as well. But the last few months we've really seen him make a return to his former glory, his former self, from when he was playing that top-level StarCraft for his team. So I think today he's going to be very favored against someone like Losira. especially because Losira is someone that you can really figure out. You know the kind of style he's going to play. It's always going to be that greedy style. He's not going to take many risks. You can cheese this player out pretty easily.
I wonder if he's going to try that this time around. I mean, Losira is such a seasoned StarCraft II player. You'd think coaches, you know, friends, mentors everywhere would probably have had him make some alterations to that style of play. But I mean, overall, yeah, he can just be greedy, I guess you could say.
That's the bottom line. He loves his greed. If he gets it up and running, you know, he's the scariest Zerg alive. But
oh yeah,
getting there is a problem, and it's always been the problem.
I mean, it reminds me a little bit of Hydra, Brood War and StarCraft II, where he was terrified in late game. I mean,
if he was allowed to get there.
Yeah, but you know, of course, this is StarCraft. You are allowed to punish your opponent early. Nobody's making the rules on when you can and cannot attack.
That's right.
And so you get a player who's sneaky, a player who's quick, and you just go in there and you cripple them early on, or do some kind of timing, or give false information, and you can punish them. And I think Losira is sort of like that, I guess, to a lesser known extent, sort of the Korean Hydra.
Well, we're getting this sorted out now. I had to remake the game, it looks like. But we're back into it, so should be starting in just a moment's time.
And yeah, we'll have to see what happens. TY, Losira, I think. I'm sorry, please go ahead.
No, I was just going to say first map is Coda. So I'd have to say this would probably be TY's map pick. If they do the map pick system here, I can't remember. Some tournaments are picking maps out of a hat, some are doing player vetoes. I think this one has a player veto, so I dare say we might even be that TY chose the first map. Coda, pretty decent map, TvZ.
Yeah, let's see what he's got to offer us. The games are now loading up. So, boys and girls, tell your friends to tune in here. This is Moonglade and Tasteless, aka Sunglade, going into our third best of 5 now in today's GSL Code A.
Welcome to a GSL.
In the bottom right, in the red, formerly known as Baby.
KT Roaster TY.
Can't really say anybody can blame this guy for changing the ID. He's no longer a baby.
He has grown up. He's a man. Up here in the top left, we do have
MVP Losira.
once named Kung Ho. Thankfully changed that back.
He went Losira, Kung Ho, and then back to Losira.
Yeah. Kung Ho
you know, that was early on in StarCraft II where there was a lot of confusion about what your ID was if you were Korean. Like, a lot of Koreans did not understand that they were actually branding themselves by their ID, since, you know...
That was a big problem back then.
Exactly. Like, you know, when I first started in Brood War here at GOM, they did not know that non-Koreans referred to the players by IDs, actually.
Yeah,
there was initially some insistence that I use the...
Korean names?
The Korean names, and this was like long ago, like 5 or 6 years ago, but I refused.
Well, that's very smart too, because they just wouldn't have personalities like they do now.
I mean, the names are just they're not familiar to the Western ears. So, but yeah, when StarCraft II first came out, you know, players would make their IDs, and then they would discover that their ID would come up on screen, but a lot of them didn't understand. A lot of them, of course, didn't speak English at the time, wouldn't realize that, because in some of the Korean casts, they would still refer to them as by the Korean name, right? Because this was all still getting sorted out. So a lot of these guys would start changing their ideas. I think we had, what was it? Who changed name to Optimus Prime? Why am I suddenly...
Oh, is that like...
It wasn't Marine King, it was...
Byung?
It was Byung, yeah.
Yeah.
Byung changed his name to Optimus Prime.
I remember that, yeah.
And then Losira changed it to Kong Ho, and then we had guys... Rainbow went from Hope Torture and back to Rainbow, and it was...
Such a bad name. Hope Torture was horrible.
That was the worst idea I've ever heard.
That was actually horrible.
But I mean, at the time, like, I was a little worried because if you don't follow StarCraft religiously, I'm sure most of the viewers that are tuning in here probably do watch this more than the average viewer.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless you're somebody who randomly found this on Twitch, but you're not going to remember everybody's Korean name or necessarily even everybody's face.
No,
having a catchy moniker really helps.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was pretty, I guess, apparent to all the foreign players when they started to be pro gamers and whatnot. Even just owning a Twitter, like, you have a Twitter name, you never want to change that. It just doesn't make sense. People are gonna not have any idea who you are. You're not going to gain any followers or anything like that.
Yeah, it's all gotten much more refined here.
Yeah.
But that was the early days of esports, Mooney.
That was
the wild, wild west of esports.
Oh man, I was back then as well. I was playing back then. Even before then, it was Warcraft 3.
Warcraft 3.
Oh man, good times.
And you played some Brood War before that too?
I played it afterwards, actually.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you played So you had never played Brood War, but then played Warcraft 3?
I played like vanilla StarCraft and a bit of Brood War, but then I went to Warcraft 3 when it came out. Then I stopped Warcraft 3, and I played like a year of StarCraft 1 on the ICOP server.
Oh yeah, that was brutal playing on that.
Yeah, especially going into that late. Like,
oh god, yeah.
Trying to figure everything out.
People got very good. There were like a lot of good Brood War players.
It was like my main hobby because I was working at the time, so I'd just go home and play a lot of Brood War ladder. I ended up getting like B- from it,
which is really high, man. That's really hard to do.
I was pretty stoked with it. It was like my goal towards the end before StarCraft 2 came out as well.
Yeah. No, I actually played Brood War competitively, and then very, very briefly picked up Warcraft 2 because they released a BattleNet edition, and I just got curious.
That's a fun game.
Tried that out. That's fun.
I made a couple of friends who were actually competitive Warcraft 2 players that moved over to Warcraft 3 during that time, and yeah, I couldn't believe it was a competitive game, but it was, and there was like some of those very famous players that came with it. Like, do you remember a player named Tillerman at all?
Tillerman, yeah, he's old school. He did Warcraft 2 and early StarCraft, not even StarCraft 1 more than StarCraft Brood War, I believe.
Oh yeah? Yeah, he did Warcraft 3 for a little bit too.
He was really good, though, at every game he picked up.
I beat him down in Warcraft 3, Tasteless.
Shit, that's my boy. Man. That's my boy.
Chimera Rush, man. Chimera Rush. Back when it was actually a thing. I was an abuser of Ancients of Wars as well, if anyone remembers that crap. Those horrible times.
No, I remember that, yeah. Building those right outside somebody's base.
Just walk it on in and start
You're like, guys, I think I'm going to get #1 on the ladder if I just keep doing this over and over.
I pretty much did, Tasteless.
Yeah, you could do it back then, man.
No shame at all, man.
Yeah.
This game has certainly gone on its way. We're out of that early game. Nothing's really happened so far, but we are seeing Losira go for very quick mutas, very quick 2-base.
And we also seen a drop come up here in the upper left. So let's see how much damage this actually does.
Yeah, well, a couple of Widow Mines.
This is certainly nothing that should come as a huge surprise to Losira.
It's kind of been detected already. We are seeing a Spore on that main base finish up as this comes towards it, but he doesn't really have Lings to help clean up the Marines. Here comes the Mines, might hit some Larvae. No, just a Queen.
No, it hits the Queen, which is basically the worst thing to hit since there's a low chance the Queen actually gets killed here.
Yeah, unless there's some Marine shots on it.
Problem is that Lucira's going for mutas, so there's actually, he has to get this medevac out and do something. All right, pulling the drones.
Oh, it's going to hit a Ling, a drone. Oh!
Whoa, nice clicking there.
Big mistake there. Big mistake. 5 drones for that. Luckily, he over-droned that natural, though, so he doesn't actually lose much mining. But, yeah, everything takes a little bit of damage there.
We have a good amount of gas banked up here, about 600. So he will have 6 mutas coming up in just a second. Looks like actually closer to 7 in a second here.
Yeah. Pretty good position to do it in. Do see those early upgrades from TY as well.
Well, this is a great way to play this. You just go for that harass early on, try to do some damage, and then you just attack up back at home. Zerg normally can't attack with other Lings while this is going on. Kind of a funny situation we saw back there with the Overseer being saved via transfuse.
I think he actually could have not transfused it and it would have survived as well, just being safer than sorry. If I wanted to nitpick, but...
Oh, that's right. Byung was Ghost King. Thank you, Guy.
Ah, Ghost King. That's right. Who was Optimus? It might have been Marine King, actually.
Yeah, it might have actually been Marine King was Optimus Prime for a little bit, and then he changed it back to Marine King, and I was like, oh, man. And you know what? Before that, Marine King was actually Fox, or was it? Was it Creator?
It might have been Creator that went Optimus.
God, this is like so long ago.
Pulse.
Oh, we got informed by the producer it was Pult.
Of course.
Of course. Thank you, Jay.
How could we possibly have forgotten that? Oh, yeah. Jay knows all.
Jay does know all. Jay's seen a lot of StarCraft II games, that's for sure.
That is true.
So, yeah, but there was all those players switching between different IDs.
Yeah, never a good thing. Well, Muta's going to start working in a refinery. Not the biggest victory there, considering we are seeing TY simply go for bio. You don't need that much gas. But not even going to get that in the end. 3 Vikings this early on is pretty curious. But really a great idea. If you see like 2 base mutas going up this early, like getting a few Vikings out to zone them out, perfect idea. It's gonna do the trick. You're gonna minimize your damage. And I would dare say TY is equal, if not ahead in economy right now because of how late that 3rd base was for Losira.
Yeah, he looks like he's doing just fine. I do wonder if we're going to see a big resurgence of Losira in individual leagues like GSL.
That'd be a great thing, but
it would be a good story. I feel like Curious is the guy who actually survived the individual leagues from start to finish and actually had a lot more success.
Yeah, he was. He did great last season. He was a very impressive play.
Someone in our little interactive text box here said, asked me if I played any new games lately. I did try Fallout New Vegas after seeing Fallout 4 announced.
You did?
I had not properly played it yet. It's actually quite good.
Yeah, you having a good time with that?
It's good. Mooney and I have also been playing some Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, well, a bunch of Heroes of the Storm. Very enjoyable. Trying to get rank 1. Bit of a mission.
Yeah, it's a bit of a grind, man. It is a Blizzard ladder, though.
Yeah, it is.
They are a bit grindy.
It's a big grind, especially solo queuing. It brings a certain amount of sadness to your soul.
Someone put a stock ticker in our chat. We had a.
That's interesting.
I think we got the NASDAQ down here at the bottom of our screen.
I was wondering.
Anyways, some drops coming here. Meanwhile, a push over at the front as they back out.
How's the Dow Jones today?
I don't know, man. Everybody sell. Everybody sell.
Well, yeah.
Lucira's also taking this base at the upper right. This is not an easy location to get to since the medevacs aren't being used to drop over there just yet. And I don't even know. Actually, can you check for me? Does he actually see that? TY see that?
He hasn't seen it yet, but it looks like he's going for the scout with that drop in the top right. Losira holding on for now, but kind of where TY is. He's really entrenched. He's killing most of the creep. We can actually see a huge engagement for it. He's going to be looking to clean everything up, and I think he will.
Yeah, Losira is full-on engaging right now, which means we're going to have a pickup as he just continues to dive backwards here.
That was a beautiful, beautiful cleanup, but the 4th should be canceled from this.
Yeah, actually not a great trade here. Some of these mutas are getting gunned down. Oh my god. Oh no, he won't save that. No way. And that was actually not canceled.
Not canceled.
This is bad. Plus a few mutas gunned down. Probably not worth it as much.
No, mutas actually not paying attention.
Oh man.
Using a little bit extra there. And yeah, Losira kind of falling apart a little bit at that point. He did clean it up really nicely. But we'll have to see what TY
Somebody
can do
put a
here.
hammer in our text box. That was cool. So we got Lings and Bailings coming down, possibly aimed towards this 3rd base. I think counterattacking is probably a better option here for Losira than trying to engage this army full on.
TY looking for doing this double drop while his 2-2 finishes up here. It's going to make it that much harder to clean up, and not enough units back here. Bailings coming in. Ooh. Saving everything, actually.
Yeah, actually not bad. TY, he's known for having these very strong pushes. He was a very tenacious player even back in his early days, really good with control, really good at just engaging. He's going to be right up here at the entrance between the 2nd and the 3rd. Not sure. I think Losira might be able to just hold this based off the sheer number of Banelings.
Yeah.
TY does have a really good spread, though.
Yeah, and a lot of Widow Mines there.
Marauders in the front up here with a Hellbat, a Widow Mine, and Thors.
It's a very dangerous position. It's very hard to engage into. Let's see what he can do. Big Widow Mine hits already. Oh, I don't know. It's a good trade for TY. Let's see how this ends up. Look at those spreads, Tasteless.
Yeah, really nice, actually. It looks like Losira is barely having enough, but let's check out with the reinforcements coming down here.
Great push. All the Lings getting wiped out on the ground.
Yeah, there's enough Hellbats there on the ground. The Lings are not quite doing as much, and so it's starting to tip back.
That Thor is doing big hits.
Yeah, huge hits there. Losira with a decent amount of gas can start to remake Banelings if he wants. We don't have as much of a stream from TY here following this. And it looks like there's just enough Lings with mutas now. TY overextending just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe should have waited just a little bit longer here.
However, Losira is still on 3 bases too. TY's 3 bases, so
Losira might be the one overextending here. You know, he's trading at a lot of Lings, no Banelings at all in this composition. Never a good thing against this much fire. He's going for this medivac, taking big hits on the mutas too. Now he's only sitting at 13 meters. +3 is going, is upgrading now for TY. He scans and sees there's no 4th base. Now that is a huge scan. That gives TY so much relief because he knows they're on equal economy right now, which is going to favor the Terran player, especially when this +3/+3 finishes up for TY. He's going to get much better engagements.
You know, a lot of good Terrans don't get to know if that base is there or not because they're scanning, trying to get rid of creep tumors at the time, landing mules to try to reinforce or push as much as possible. So to see that and see that, okay, in fact, the 4th base has just now started. It's just now starting to kick in.
That's why I can't believe he didn't remake that. That's actually a huge blunder from Losira. He should be keeping that going as he defends against everything. It's so important to have that +1 base advantage against Terran.
So the mutas are just being active right now. You can see they were placed there to try to intercept any medevacs coming through. TY actually being very cautious right now. Did not feed in too much more. Is now bringing his army up here to the right. This is going to be a little bit tougher for Losira to engage here. You can see this big wall to the left of this army. Not as easy to surround. Also the bushes over here. Everything is going to make it just a little bit more difficult for Zerg to engage. It is a bit of a walk, though.
It is a bit of a walk.
Whoa, that was sick.
Yeah, that was really nice. And look at this. Nice placement with the Thoughts as well. And a big split from TY, but these Banelings might get the hits.
But this guy's just got Banelings for days.
Banelings for days. Oh,
unfortunately, most of the Banelings are not actually connecting. He's got a good number. Yeah. But you can see TY, it's like his army opens up like a mouth and just swallows up the Banelings as they get in there. Banelings not able to connect.
Yeah, he needs to get more creep spread out here, and he's running out. TY is like one more decent tumor that just got killed. So the more time this happens, the fighting happens here, the less favorable it's going to be for Losira. Not taking good fights at all. Not with his positioning, not with his placement of this Thor. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is the kind of placement that if Zerg doesn't really deal with in a very technical way, it's not going to do much. Look at how this Thor is placed.
It is so difficult to engage into.
It is harder to kill a maxed out Terran army with everything and to get that Thor, man.
Yeah.
With the medevacs and a few Marines over there, nothing can kill that, okay?
Nothing. It is actually immortal
right now. You can have 3 maxed out Protoss armies and they will not kill that Thor and Marines over there. There's just no way. Not behind a mineral patch. You can't even destroy mineral patches. No. You could try to mine them out. You could try to mine them out, but the Thor has ranged attacks.
Yeah, well, you're going to need a lot of SCVs or drones for that.
Yeah.
Desperate counterattack coming from Losira. He's running out of steam here. He's essentially given up this 4th base at the top right. Just about TY going up there and finishing the job. Letting this 3rd base go is TY though. Nothing here.
I don't know if he's going to lose this, is he? He might have some more reinforcements going to appear. A lot of Banelings. Yeah. Actually a ridiculous number of Banelings. You see what's already done and the ones that are morphing it down here. He would need to connect them all with everything else.
Big hits. He actually, TY is not going for this top right base, which is a big surprise to me. It's fully operational currently.
Now this is a Thor between a factory and a barracks, almost as strong against Slings as what we saw there back there with the minerals.
That's right.
Now this is a lot of gas he spent here on these Banelings. Looks like the mutas are actually still doing a good amount of damage.
Just not enough units here to help clean it up. Like,
I think Losira actually is going to be fine.
It's hard to say. I think so because simply put, TY left the completely undefended base that Losira gave up. He gave up that top right base. It was there for TY to kill. Yeah. TY decided to go for the 3rd base instead, which is kind of a mystery to me. Literally, 1 Marine could have gone up there and done enough damage to make it worth it, instead of what he happened to do at the 3rd. And while all that was happening, that counterattack on TY's 3rd.
You know, if you look at the gas here, Losira has a good amount of gas. So he can keep making Banelings. And of course, Banelings make so fast, you're pretty much making them in real time. So he could pretty much just pop out Banelings if another push does come out here from TY. Now, TY did manage to keep his 3rd base alive and has the 4th up, but the question is if TY pushes out, can Losira counterattack and push in here? We see TY sitting up some ample defense, but it'll also depend on how much he leaves behind with that defense, the turrets, the bunkers, everything else, as to whether or not it can be punished. At the same time, though, TY does have a distance that is pretty reasonable to push.
He does, and the creep spread is pretty non-existent at this point. The active tumors aren't really getting much done on the map. Losira has been very distracted by all this aggression. Big scan on the 5th base now of Losira. So Losira's been keeping up the economy, but now it is going to be 3-3 bio against the 2-2 Lingbane Muta. And it's always a big advantage going into this late game for the Terran player.
All right, another counterattack here. This is exactly what Losira needs to do to get that army to keep away, punish these expansions. We have Banelings that have been finished up here, although it's a sizable Terran army here from TY. Got to pull those Banelings back. Mutas and Lings continuing to press forward now. No SCVs mining from that third base. No sign, though, that Losira is going to try to push into the fourth as well.
It doesn't look like it. The Muta Ling are actually getting closer to the natural of TY's as TY kind of moves back and secures his fourth again. A few mutas going down as well. Actually, a lot of mutas. Ooh.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of this earlier from Losira, getting a little bit sloppy with his mutas, trading off a good amount.
Finally, we're seeing these drops happen again. It's been a while since TY started to put pressure around the map while dealing with the army.
Losira wasn't being that aggressive with the mutas either, so I guess he was really worried about feeding into his opponent.
Yeah, but it's hard to say. He's doing a little bit of damage up here in the top right. Kind of found the base that was completely undefended. Starting to do a little bit of damage to it. Cleaning up some creep as well. He's essentially stabilizing at this point. I think TY has kind of realized that Losira is running out of steam, and killing that fifth base puts him even further behind. He knows he's on the same sort of composition. He's not getting more upgrades. It's simply about having the right engagement against these kind of Baneling balls to win him the game.
Man. I think a lot of this is going to just be hinged on this third base here. You know, you notice he's completely rebuilding infrastructure around it.
Yeah.
He's it's a little bit loose. He's got a sensor tower there, but if he could break that, I think it would probably cut for the weather forecast.
Where are we talking? Are we talking Korea?
Right here. No.
Humidity 66%. Whoa.
It is pretty humid here today.
It is. I noticed it actually.
Yeah.
Thank you for inputting that. I actually wanted to know what kind of temperature it was.
Yeah, it's actually quite nice out here in Seoul.
It's pretty cloudy today, actually.
Yeah, but it's not bad cloudy. It's kind of like
it's just a little bit. Just stops the sun from being a little too bright for us nerds.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're in this cave-like studio casting StarCraft now, man.
Yeah, makes me
this is
feel
the
a lot
place
better.
to do. Now we have another attack coming down here from Losira. Losira, it's sort of weird. He's been kind of floating on 5 bases for a little bit now, but and he's got a good-sized army, but
yeah,
he hasn't quite managed to get out here and do too much damage.
He's got such a massive amount of Ling Bane. You know, he's sitting at 80, like 90 Lings and 70 Banes. That is a ridiculous amount of numbers. He's looking for that one big engagement, one big fight that might win him the game. But I don't know, TY is being very smart about this. He knows what Losira is looking for.
I think he might get him in a position here. He's coming down over here in the bottom left.
A lot of Lings leading the way. Big spreaded army. TY's going to have to split like a god here. There's so many Banelings.
Yeah, he's going to have to move those Lings and Banelings past the sensor tower and actually through. There's so many Banelings. He needs to move the mutas up here to continue to do the damage with the rest of the splitting. Now forking out to the high ground and the low ground. The Thor is microed up.
And I think Losira is out of Banes, but he wiped out the army of TY. It's all about TY kind of remaxing now, remaking that army while he has time.
It's really important right now that Losira continue to reinforce. He has to hit this base over here. We see Medevacs actually kind of coming up here, scrambling to try to go over here and protect the third base. Fifth base over there had stopped mining. Losira needs to do this damage now, or they're going to be even on bases, and TY is just going to muster up a larger force.
That's right. But he's doing some real damage here. He's going to kill the fourth base up in the mid there. The CC has gone down. 2 more to deal with though before TY gets an army up and running again. But I think TY might have enough already to kind of push this army back.
Yeah, TY is, well, he's evacuating his SCVs over here. He's got to be careful not to overextend with these Lings and Mutas. Actually clean up a good amount of those Marines on that side. Now going over here to the top. SCV's pulling out. Again, it's a real balancing act here for Losira and TY. You got to be careful how much you're going to engage forward versus when you're going to run away.
Yeah. He's trying to get out of here now. He's got to start remaking these Banelings because he's going to be fighting a lot of bios soon, and I think TY would be looking for a counterattack after that kind of fight.
I think so.
Currently no Banelings on the map at all at this point. Just a lot of Lings coming in, about 80 Lings.
He did deplete all of his gas here. Losira did, which is going to make it tougher to reinforce the Banelings. For the last about 5 or 10 minutes, he actually had a surplus in gas, and so he was always having these larger Baneling engagements. It looks like his gas income has slowed down a little bit.
One thing that TY has kind of overlooked as well is the Drilling Claws upgrade. I think if he had this, it would have really improved his fights tenfold. I mean, if you have these in position and they just burrow, as the Ling Bane come in, they get the hits off, you win that fight a lot easier. And this is a huge mistake. Losira actually looking to fight 3-3 Marines with medivacs and a bunker with no Banelings.
Yeah, no Banelings there. And then someone has put in the Wikipedia information for what Minecraft is. That's so funny. I don't know if TY can actually, or Losira is actually able to crack TY here. We have the last kind of plume of Banelings coming up.
Yeah, a lot of Banelings, a lot of creep as well.
And it's now TY's moment to try to push forward here. A lot of Lings and a lot more Banelings being made behind that. Seem to surround this army, swallowing it up. GG. TY caps. Taps out.
Caps out, man.
Kappa HD.
You got caps, man.
Losira won that game.
Really, really
the guy knows his late game.
He knows his late game. Even though he didn't really go beyond that layer of tech, he just made the right amount of army, did the right amount of damage with it, and forced TY out. And I feel like TY could have hanged in there. He didn't necessarily have to be aggressive. Granted, his economy did get messed up big time. He just wasn't making the right units to deal with pure Ling Bane and a few meters. Like, where are the Widow Mines? Why aren't you making 10 Widow Mines?
I think the counterattack there was a huge mistake too at the end.
Yeah, that was him.
That was nice. Look, Zerg's on 5 base, you're on 5 base.
Yeah.
Guess who has the next problem after this bounces out?
Yeah.
Oh, Zerg.
Zerg.
He's gonna have to figure out how to get a 6 base.
Right.
Before who? The Terran.
Especially if you're on a layer tech. You're so pressured to make the damage happen as the Zerg player in that kind of tech.
You're like stuck in this mid-game, like, you know, limbo, I guess you could say.
It's a very insecure place where it's like, well, I got to do damage before his army gets too big and crushes mine.
These are how we have good players beat DRG when he do this.
Yeah. Well, I think the coach might have gone into the booth there and said, TY, bro, make some mines and get Drilling Claws. Because that's going to help your game a lot against the
map
style.
was cut in half. That means it's not on the Terran to try to push forward. Not on layer tech. He's not making Brood Lords.
Also, dropping a little bit more would have gone a long way. Especially that time when the 4th base was completely left unguarded. There was nothing but drones there. Not even creep at that point. And Losira was simply focusing on counter-attacking. Put a drop there. You kill that economy. You have a much easier game. Terraform the next map. We're finally going to get to see this one, Tasus.
Finally, and this map is loading up. It is, it's going to be interesting. TY, it was a close game. He did a good job. He just wasn't able to survive. He wasn't able to swim when it got to late game Losira. Let's see if there's rushes here. This is a map a little bit unfamiliar for everybody involved compared to the other stuff we've casted, we've played on, we've observed. Let's see what happens here. TY against Losira. Game number 2 in the GSL Code A. In the upper left in the red, he is
KT Roaster TY.
That Zerg player in the bottom right.
MVP Losira.
Pretty big map, Tasus. It's got a gold base or 2. 3rd bases are pretty spread out. It's
oh my god.
It's time for some cheese, Tasus. Time for a sprinkle of cheese. This Overlord is going to say g'day.
Oh my god.
G'day.
G'day, mate.
G'day, mate. How about you? What you doing? What you doing up this end of the map?
He's like, well, I'll just move this up here.
It's like, oh, I guess I'll put the barracks in my main base.
All right, we're not going to have any cheese.
Awkward start here.
Awkward.
It's still a very new map, so players are still figuring out where they can throw these proxies, where Overlords are going to be going as well. There's no sort, there's no like default placement for it. There's also, I believe it is this map, the ledge doesn't actually block the vision, so if we see Losira put it on the lower part of the natural, Marine's going to kill it. And we saw that actually recently in Casper Cup.
Yeah, when you get maps that are this new, it's you almost it's easier to play when there's actually a meta on the map, even if the meta's not maybe the proper one. But then a lot of this uncharted territory. This is also one of the reasons why we see different players succeed at the birth of an RTS versus the stabilizing moments of an RTS. Some people are better at just, you give them a bunch of, chess pieces or any kind of game pieces, and you say, here you go figure it out. Some people are better at figuring that aspect of the game out, while others, if you teach them, after let's say a year or two, the way the game's been learned now, and you give them the foundation, the building blocks, other people way excel in that.
Definitely the player that comes to mind for that as well is Flash, more than most people.
Yeah,
He's like the mechanical genius, but I think if he had to sit down and learn an RTS from scratch, he would not be the winner.
I think you're correct. Whereas somebody like Nesty, who did not have a lot of success in Brood War, but you give him a new RTS, a.k.a. StarCraft II Wings of Liberty, this guy maps out everything. He knows the game in and out. And, yeah,
he's a very, very intelligent,
very bright
person.
guy. Yeah.
You just pick it up like that, and to win a GSL without dropping a map sort of thing is like actually ridiculous.
It's pretty crazy. Remember when he did that? What was it, like the spine crawler push against like a fast expanding Protoss, which in fact turns out not to be that good. But at the time, it was just like
that was like Inca or something way back then. Like
I think it was Inca. It was on a map where the entrance is actually far from the actual second base location.
Yeah.
And therefore, there's pressure to defend all three locations. But I mean, you look at somebody like that and you think, wow, you just really do understand how all these pieces can interact together.
It really is something else. Pretty safe opening from Losira this time, because he did see that proxy SCV, or SCV looking for a proxy. Went for that pull first. Got out a couple of lings early on to counterattack, slow down the CC. Behind that, just simple droning from here. Let's see if he goes for that same sort of 2-base meter opening, or is he going to go for more of a grittier Losira type style?
Yeah, let's see here. We got a Nathanius Kappa here. Nathanius is actually quite funny.
He's a funny guy,
in real life. I never would have guessed he was actually going to be that funny in real life, but he's actually quite funny.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
And he can pull off the goatee.
Yeah, he's got good facial hair.
He is.
I'm jealous.
He would make a good Mario. If we had to make a Mario movie, Nathanius would make a great Mario.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Artosis would make a great Luigi. Am I right?
Yeah, he would, actually.
Who would Moonglade make a good? You'd make a good vampire hunter.
Oh, well, that's a dream right there. I'd do that, Tasteless.
You look like a vampire hunter, man. There's no joke.
Thank you.
Like, you need cowboy boots and like a sawed-off shotgun or something, and a cape. Where's your cape?
Cape? Well, I gotta get a cape. That's the next step here.
Right now, I look like Solid Snake with a comb over. I know what they do with my hair today at the studio. We got an attack coming up here. And, the Hellions actually coming down.
They gonna do anything, Tasteless. What
this is getting Shrek'd.
This is complete Shrekination, my friend.
TY is Shrek right now. This is brutal.
Vampire Hunter, I like that. Well, I try my best as well.
Oh, we got to get better mods here for this chat thing. This is not working out. Or I don't know, Mooney.
I don't know. Well,
the show must go on.
You said one funny thing. What Brennan looked like once upon a time. Do you remember that?
I do this all the time. But hold up. Let's just do this.
Let's do this drag real fast.
Oh,
not paying attention.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
style points right there.
Pretty cool. Oh, that is.
Oh my gosh. This is some of the coolest micro you've seen.
My goodness.
I don't know if this is actually worth it to keep picking this up and then burrowing it again.
Well, I
guess he's not mining from there while it's happening.
That's the biggest thing, right? And that's huge economic damage. If you stop mining completely like that, that is insane. And that's pretty much the name of the game when it comes to like Terrans trying to harass Protoss. Like their name of the game is to pull the probes, not so much to kill every single probe in the mineral line. Though that can happen, and that's a great bonus. And this counterattack.
Who did I say Brennan looks like?
He said he looked like a professional ice skater.
Did I say that in the cast, or did I say that when we were in a bar or something?
You said that we were in a bar, too.
Yeah, I forgot I said that. He does look like he would make a great professional ice skater. Look, those guys are in shape, okay?
They're in great shape.
They're in great shape.
Brennan
nothing wrong
looks
with that.
Great.
Brennan looks great,
There's nothing wrong with that.
He's more fit than us.
Yeah.
We got the Banelings coming in here now, and it looks like they're going to try to come in. Actually going to chase the Hellions up here. There's not... Oh! No raise on the depots.
No raise at all. The Banelings are going to catch the Hellions. Oh, this is huge. This is actually too much damage. I don't think there's any way to kind of recover from this. 2 more Hellions are about to pop, but more Lings are coming in.
This is actually horrible for TY. I didn't expect this game to quite look like this. He seems to have fallen apart a bit.
Yeah, he really has.
Kind of an odd scan here in the main, as he probably would actually need mules right now to land down, but I guess he just scans. Okay, he sees that he's behind. Losira!
Great counterattack after shutting down that harassment. Made the right choice there. Really impressive. Good decision making.
Yeah, he looks like he's got this. Here's Choya. I'm sure you guys who've been watching GSL for a long time remember Choya. He's actually one of the better coaches out there in StarCraft II.
Yeah, player coach. He's played a lot as well. He was a competitive player once upon a time.
Yeah.
Really helps out, I think, understanding players and the game.
TY is, this is not going well, man. I gotta say, we've had some weird results as far as the way some of the guys are playing today.
Yeah.
I thought TY was gonna look pretty solid here.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting TY to come into this pretty confident.
Even True today, I'm just looking at these games and thinking, gosh, I mean, you're so good late game.
So
why are you not?
Why are you 9-pool
going there?
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good question. Now Losira 1 game away from locking this down. Expedition lost that 3rd map as well. Great Zerg map.
Well, you know, Losira's thinking, I got this. I mean, there's just... He's looking so solid in these games. TY really shot himself in the foot there, by the way, with that first attack. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, that was an abysmal attack.
That was horrible, man.
I was like, it didn't really make sense either. The Marines were poorly microed. They got surrounded by Lings in the first second of engagement. The Hellions went for a run by, but took too much damage going up that ramp. Everything fell apart. Mine drop did some damage. It stopped the drones from mining for a long time. That was a good harassment. But the counterattack just did too much.
TY against Losira. Game number 3, Expedition lost. What are you feeling as a Zerg player looking against Terran on this map, Mooney?
I'm thinking Losira is very favored, and I think he might close this out.
I think you're right. Well, the game has started up. Guys, tell your friends to tune in, download the GOMTV app, and try out our weird in-game messaging thingamajig. And it's now loaded up, so we're gonna go into this. With me is Moonglade as Artosis is on vacation. I am Fabutace, aka Basetace, aka Sunglade in the GSL Code S. In the upper right, in the red, he is
KT Roaster TY.
Has to win this game or he's out.
looking a bit pensive.
Bottom left, the Zerg player.
MVP Losira.
Has some of the sickest APM in the business.
Yeah.
Was a piano player, I believe.
Oh, that would make sense, actually.
Yeah.
My brother played some piano when he was very, very young.
Oh, yeah?
And his APM was just sick.
It would help out a lot.
It's actually out of all the things that you could have done before playing, like besides playing other video games or something, probably chess and playing piano, probably the two most applicable things.
When I have my child taste, let's see who will play the piano or she.
When I have a child, Moonglade, I'm going to make sure that he or she plays the oboe because I'm an abusive parent.
Whoa. Well, certainly the correct choice there.
Like, you're going to play the oboe whether you like it or not. They're like, I can't join a band.
They're going to play
Papa Tasteless, I can't join a band from this. Like, we play the guitar.
Teach them play like the giant organ or something. It's
yeah,
like,
you're going to play the pipe organ.
You're going to play in churches or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that right-clicking. It's just ridiculous.
Look at this.
It's like you have more APM with your right-clicks than I ever did with my keyboard. That is disgusting.
Well, we have the drone continuing to scout around. Now here we got a question. When will I stream SC2? I don't know if I'm going to be streaming anything anytime soon here, guys.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you prefer streaming StarCraft or not streaming StarCraft?
I like it, but it depends what kind of form I'm in. If I'm like, if I'm kind of like picking it up after a break, then I kind of don't really want to because people will judge me.
Yeah, well, people will judge you no matter what, man. This is
yeah, but if I'm like
for me, I don't get as much satisfaction out of streaming it.
I don't mind it too much. If I'm like feeling good about it and I'm enjoying it and playing good games, I can definitely enjoy some good StarCraft streaming.
Yeah. But, I think for me, streaming in general, I'm just kind of like it's fun for a little bit, but I think I'm like one of those guys. Yeah, it's like streaming. Like streaming's actually a lot of work when you see these guys that do full-time streaming. I mean, what we mainly do is TV hosting, but you see a lot of these guys, they have to stream for like 8-9 hours.
They do
all day. And you know, for me, I'm like whenever I play games, I like play a game or two. Whatever game that might be, StarCraft, let's say I was playing Fallout, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll like take these breaks all the time. Oh my God!
What is happening here? This should never, ever happen.
This should never, ever happen. This is the most exciting thing that's happened. This is crazy.
StarCraft. If he put a hatchery down, it went down. But let's just say that's worth it because he blocked the orbital for so long.
That was pretty sick, man.
That should never happen, Tasus.
That was nasty, man.
I think TY
that's
must be
like
tilted, man.
What if you played somebody like that's never played StarCraft before,
like,
and they're actually just getting under that? And you're like, oh no, I can't land this under there.
I guess I lose the game. He's like,
Roach Ward. Actually, this is great.
I think Losira's just like, well, your head's not clearly in this game. If you put your CC off center as well, like I guess I just kill you now.
Yeah, this is bad, man. I think the rush is going to be very effective.
As it gets ready. Yeah, I agree with you with the streaming stuff though. I really respect people that can stream for like 9 hours because that's like too much. And I also like kind of like it's gonna get your personal time when you're gaming as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I sometimes want to rage at and look bad, and I don't want that to happen on stream.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're like, time to tell this nerd what he really is.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you lose in a game that isn't StarCraft, and it's like, well, I play StarCraft and I'm GM, so you're crap or whatever.
You're garbage.
You're garbage. You're horrible.
I remember just watching Artosis, man. When we first come out here and watching him play StarCraft, man, because he was like the king of salt.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this game is going so poorly here for TY.
Well, at least he gets a scout off pretty early on. But, you know what? That's a third CC, so he is not prepared in the slightest for this. This could very well end in the next few minutes.
I feel like TY's sort of fallen apart here.
Yeah. He has not had a good game so far. He is making a tank, which is going to help out against these roaches, but there's nothing really to buffer for it. There's only Marines coming out now. If he can get through this bunker at the front before Marines are even in it, like I think.
Yeah, I think he just kills the SCV here, right? And then these Hellions can come in here and do some damage, but I mean, is that going to really be enough? All right, so the bunker finishes, but SCVs are not over here in time.
It's going to come a lot down to these Hellions doing the damage as well. Like, Roaches are going to have to end the game. This much damage is going to happen. So he's going to have to get up this ramp now. He's going to have to start getting it down.
He's got the tank up here. The SCVs are not in position, though. And if you notice, even the way this is positioned, the SCVs can't quite repair the tank. If they do get close enough, that is. Looks like the SCVs are actually just in the way enough. He's going to get it.
He's going to get the tank, but yeah, Roaches have really been softened up.
Problem, though, is you can actually micro these roaches back like a good amount, and they're going to stay alive for a while.
Yeah, that is true. He's going to find more damage. SCVs and Marines are actually going to try and clean that all up, but oh man. The Hellion run by might be the game winner here. 27 drones to 23 SCVs.
Well, you got to keep in mind that tank's been gunned down. So defense not as easy to have. He's going to have a second one coming up here. He's going to need to remake the bunker and the rest of the wall in. But really, Zerk can do whatever he wants, actually.
To a point, you know, the only problem, or the bigger problem here is that there's 3 orbitals up for TY. And that is going to really catch him up in economy. And, you know, he can make 3 SCVs at a time while dropping mules. He should be, he's already ahead in economy, technically, thanks to these mules. And it's only going to get worse from there. Losira's only putting down his 3rd hatchery now. And this is the worst part of the internet, you guys. We'll have to talk to the GOMTV staff about this. Yeah. We do apologize to people watching. Yeah, that is a shame. But oh well. Let's focus on this game instead.
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, I mean,
well, it's going to be tough for
way.
TY to just really get out here and do much damage. When you force someone into getting a tank like that early on,
yeah,
then they're not going to have, for instance, the Widow Mines later on, anything else. They slow down the Hellions. They can't scout around and get drones.
And the upgrades are ready for TY. So, and Stim is, a third of the way through. He is in good shape. He's kind of posturing up for a nice attack at some point, especially when the Stim finishes up. The Medivacs are a mile away. I think Losira is in a good place. I think this game is essentially stabilized at this point as well. So I guess you could pretty much say that it's essentially reset, and they're having a decent macro game from this stage. None of them have really been crippled too far.
Looks like the starport's about halfway done here, so we can. Saras's going to be a little bit later here. Medivac's a little bit later too. And yeah, this game should just sort of slow down a little bit.
Yeah, game is going to stabilize essentially completely. TY is going to be looking to take that third soon, and Losira is just droning up like a madman like he does, and he's been allowed to do it, which is the other scary
This
part.
is the form that he wants to be in too, going into the late game here.
Yeah, this is really a great spot for him.
2 Banelings nests.
Yeah, well, these things happen as well. Sometimes you're just not looking at your front door where you put your first Baneling nest, so you put a second one next to it.
Right there.
It just happens. So you can get Baneling speed twice as fast, because that's totally a thing, Tasteless.
That's totally a thing.
Yeah, I'm not making that one up.
So Stim's done now. Let's see if he actually goes ahead and takes the third base here. There's a good chance, actually, with Losira here, he could come up and try to punish this. He had all that gas. He just made a ton of Banelings.
He did. He could actually be going for a very dangerous timing with Ling Bane. He scattered out the drop coming his way. He should have stuff in position before the Stim Marines get into the drone line. He might get a queen though.
Yeah, he does get that one queen. He's going to be able to pick up over here. Go over to the second base now. Just try to fit back in over here. The Banelings are going to come down, drive this out again. But good interruption on the mining there. Supplies are about even right now.
Yeah, not a bad position at all for TY. He's going to buy so much time. He's going to have that third base down flawlessly. No delays, no Lings across the map, no Baneling crashing into his base anytime soon. It's just really, tying up Losira for now until Mutas come out. And Spire has practically only just started.
Yeah, until that Spire's done, he can't really do much about the drops. He can try to run under it and just shut down any Marines when they're popping out. But really, he's got a lot of mobility. He can go gun down Overlords or Creep Tumors, anything.
That's right. And that's another 2-drop as well. So we're going to see the double drop behind that third base come in and maybe even find some more damage. The one Medivac so close to dying. 6 HP.
Yeah, he might even want to try tearing open the rocks over there from the main.
That would probably be a good idea. Just open up another avenue of attack. Another big attack here at that third base. Just really tying up Losira. Losira not confident to get a fourth base either at this point. He's kind of just on the defensive completely until Mutas come, which is pretty much, another kind of kind of a reaction to what happened early on. Like, he clearly didn't get the gas up early enough. His economy was kind of reset as well, same as what happened to TY. So I think he's playing catch up still. He's going to only have a few. He's actually going for Corruptors.
Yeah,
so,
that's interesting.
Ooh,
I was expecting Mutas, but he can actually...
Some of that flavor that we see from Dark.
Yeah.
I like this,
well,
actually.
it's going to kill the Medivacs very quickly, and he'll have a pretty solid ground army there to push that back, too.
Yeah, but he's going to be looking for that fourth base soon. Needs to get a base up on top of TY. Never want to stay on the equal economy. Could just be looking for one big attack as well. We did see Losira do that when he was forced to go Ling Bane for a long time last time.
So he's still roaming around the map here. I think TY is doing a pretty good job being aggressive with these Medivacs and Marines and not feeding in too much, which I think is more typical of a lot of other Terrans.
Yeah.
Medivac's now picking up, pulling back out again. And Losira's only got one little creep highway going out here. I think if he can get over there with the Medivacs before these Corruptors get too much map presence and start to push back the Medivacs and shut down any harass. I don't know, I think we'd say he's done a pretty good job so far. Yeah,
well, one of the great things as well is that he knows that there's no fourth base on the map because he's been denying, like he's been sitting near them this whole time with these drops. So he's like, okay, the creep spread has been quelled. I've done a lot of damage to it. I'm sitting near his fourth with a lot of my stuff. Ooh, really nice from Losira, but this puts him completely out of position. Luckily, he does have a lot of Link Bane waiting at that third in case this was going to happen.
Well, the push has started over here at the bottom. He might be able to actually get the fourth base down there at the bottom right.
Yeah, it looks like it is pretty exposed. I don't see Losira defending that. But Losira coming back with a lot of corrupted Link Bane, maybe looking to crush this army and go for a counterattack. That would probably be his best bet. And if
Yeah,
he
I
can
think
get that,
so.
he might be able to checkmate it.
Well, he's going to come up here now, over here to the center right. This would be another moment he might be able to pick up and boost out of here. The Corruptors, no, just now coming up over here. Splitting backwards, the Marauder's soaking up a lot of damage. He does pick up. But the angle in here, he should be able to snipe one or two of these medevacs here.
Yeah, he's looking good.
Oh, just barely getting away, actually.
Oh, yeah. But still, a very open control with his fire. Ooh, one big wouldn't mind hit, I think, on that bottom side there. But more and more Link Bane coming on through, and he's forced to retreat again. And now, nearly every single medevac is gone. Oh, big waste of Banes there.
Yeah, it's just roaches down here. Now, you got to think when he gets in here with this kind of army, how much more damage is he actually going to be able to do? Yeah, we see the Marines now chasing him out right now.
That's the scary part here. It's kind of getting a bit messy for Losira. He's kind of lost his big ball.
What do you actually think of all these Corruptors like this? I mean, is this worth it in this position? Because, you know, Losira, I know this game normalized, but he had a bit of a leg up here.
He did. I kind of like it still. I think they're wiping out this medevac count, which is such a big part of dealing with Link Bane Roach as well, that, you know, if he keeps eliminating them, like, there's only one left and it has no energy, so there's no healing in this Terran army, there's no chance of drops. If Losira had got that fourth base up and running a lot earlier, he'd almost be winning the game at this point, I think. And he's still in a great position to do so. He's made a lot of Roaches, a lot of Lings, and he's making a lot of Banelings now. Plus repopulating that corrupt account. It's just about finding that engagement again, and I think TY is kind of running out of steam already. Look at his army's looking a lot less impressive than it was last time. And he's desperate for a fight.
Look at this. He's going to tear open his main now. He needs to get quick access there.
Yeah.
He's going to push down here. There's a lot of creep over here. It hasn't been cleared up just yet. Not easy to get into this area.
We're seeing another attempt at a drop as well. On that left side near that new fourth, maybe looking towards the main base actually. If he gets this drop off, it's really going to put Losira out of position again.
And I think with this push up here, I don't know if actually TY can engage this at all. I think the drop in the back is probably the best idea.
Yeah.
You know, when you have somebody who's going Corruptors, obviously, since they can't attack ground, they're going to fly around here. Yeah. And you know, they can't shut down the Marines as they pop out, so that's probably a great way to get them out of position. Conversely, though, this is just a pretty strong, beefy Zerg army with the Corruptors, Roaches, Banelings in there.
Yeah, but look at this, causing so much problems. He actually got rid of the spawning pool, which is going to slow everything down. That just changes the game completely because Losira was posturing for a big attack here. And now that he can't repopulate his army, he's got to play very defensively. He's got to wait just a little bit longer. Because if he engages and the Terran wins the fight, there's no way he can make an army that's going to deal with it. Very smartly, TY is camping the Xel'Naga Tower, too.
Yeah, the fourth base, it's kind of weird on this map here for Terran to take as easily. I think a lot of Terrans would probably actually expand over here to the center right expansion, but maybe not. I mean, taking this upper left one, you can sort of push the Zerg's center left base and still sort of keep all this area covered.
Yeah, it seems like a smart thing that a lot of Terrans will do is just kind of expand towards the Zerg and towards where they want to start parade pushing as well, because it's easier for them to defend if their armies are streaming in that direction in general.
Yeah, it's easy to just kind of engulf that entire area.
So he's just camping the Xel'Naga Tower. He's got a great minefield, a lot of bios split up. There's no real way Losira can, you know, start to deal with this fourth base unless he goes through this army first. Oh man, this tank is doing so much damage. 15 kills, 16 kills. I think it might actually trigger Losira to go for an unfavorable attack now.
Yeah, with actually a really good spread here from TY, and you know the Roaches, it's just hard for them to get in there and do any damage against that many Marauders.
Yeah, that is an ugly fight.
Yeah, with the medevacs like that. I mean, the Roaches, I would say did a decent amount of damage considering, but that was the fight that TY needed to have, and Losira taps out GG. You can see TY won that, but still not
still a long way to go.
Not feeling that confident from that. That was a close game. Don't forget that Losira actually got under TY's command center there.
That's right.
At the start of that.
He delayed it a lot. It was favored for Losira, but TY kind of recovering.
Yeah.
that run by with the Hellions just really evening up the score when it came to damaging the economy, and just positioning in the mid to late game from TY, just brilliant. Where he put his fourth base, where he's at his army. That one tank put Losira in such an ugly place that it forced him to attack into a huge concave.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Also, Losira almost won that with that attack just there at the start. So let's see how TY does when he starts to recover. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue our final best of 5 here in the GSL Code A.